Hey everyone, Weather for Weather Geeks here on this Tuesday evening, final hours of the month of June. We started last evening's video with a review of the rainfall during the month of June. I wanted to start this evening with a look at the high temperatures in the calendar view in the month of June in 2020. We'll end up about 2.1 degrees warmer than average. Not a huge deficit, or a huge surplus, I should say, in the temperature department, but still noticeably warmer than average. We only had a handful of cooler than average high temperatures in June. Interestingly, Tuesday is the most consistently warm to hot days in June. We had a 91 back on the 9th, and 87 was the high today, one of our warmest days of the month. All right, if you're a frequent viewer of Weather for Weather Geeks, this video is not, or this graphic, I should say, is not going to come as a big surprise to you. Yes, July expected to be a warmer than average month in a lot of places across the U.S. The Pacific Northwest, really the only place in which cooler than average temperatures are favored in July. And boy, confidence is real high that at least the first half of July should be awfully hot. Now, I think this is kind of a conservative looking map as far as the precipitation outlook in July for our region. Now, I say that because I think we're going to rack up some pretty big rainfall deficits in the first 10 days to maybe 2 weeks of the month. Later in the month, who knows? But we may rack up some pretty big deficits, I think, in the opening week to 2 weeks of July, and therefore I think smart money is on July ending up being a drier than average month, kind of like June ended up being. All right, time-lapse video from our Youngstown camera today. Interestingly, as we got into the afternoon today, the cumulus cloud became a little more dense and agitated, if you will, than perhaps expected, and a couple of reasons for this. We had a little weather disturbance in the mid-levels of the atmosphere, but we also had a pretty decent lake breeze that cropped up earlier today coming off of Lake Erie, and that was actually enough to spark some showers that did not move very fast south and east of Cleveland. And even a couple of sprinkles were found here and there in our television viewing area. No big deal, but a little bit unexpected to see that much of a cumulus field today and even a couple of stray raindrops. We remain on a favorable side of a front that remains draped across parts of the Ohio Valley and into the mid-Atlantic states as well. I just drew this backwards, but you get the idea. It's much more humid in Cincinnati and Lexington and Indianapolis and back towards the Corn Belt than it is around here. So while it is quite warm around here, the humidity is not off the charts like it was back at the start of the weekend. All right, we'll blitz through the next few days quickly once again because, again, not much going on. Our model tries to spit out another random shower or two tomorrow afternoon. I think the chances are under 10% and therefore hardly worth mentioning. Can I 100% rule out something that, like today where maybe there's a stray shower that tries to pop up? I can't rule that out, no, but it's, again, hardly worth a mention. And then we're dry Thursday and into Friday, and what you see is what you get. Temperature-wise and overall, the sensible weather will be very similar over the next few days. All right, let's start talking a little bit more about the heat and some statistics. 90-degree plus days, not unheard of around here, of course. We've already had 2 so far here in 2020. We average about 8 per year. We had a big year back in 2018 with 18 back in 2012. That was another hot summer. We had 18 90-degree days that summer. We had a stretch in between those summers in which we didn't have a lot. Last year, not quite as high as 2 years ago, but we still did have 11 90-degree days back in 2019. Our hottest temperature last year, we hit it a bunch of times. We hit it 6 times, 91 degrees. 92 we hit several times in 2018, and you've heard me talk about this a lot on this video and on social media. Officially at the Youngstown Warren Airport, we have not been above 92 since July 18th, 2012. It just does not want to get past 92 at the airport. We've hit 92 a bunch, just not 93, again, since the summer of 2012. Will we do it this year? We're going to make a run at it, I think, in the coming days. Around our latitude, in our climate zone, if you will, a heat wave is kind of unofficially defined as 3 or more consecutive days of 90-degree plus temperatures. Now, of course, that is not the definition of a heat wave in Miami or Dallas or Atlanta or Charlotte or places like that, but up in our latitude, that's generally what we think of as a heat wave. We had a heat wave last summer, July 19th through the 21st. We had 3 consecutive 90-degree days. We've not had 4 consecutive since 2011. We haven't had 5 since 1991. Although in 1995, we did have 6 consecutive back in that hot stretch in 1995. Now, once you get into these really long stretches, this we have to go back far into the record books to find these dates. Back in the 30s, in 1936, we had 8 consecutive days. The granddaddy of them all, back in 1940, 12 consecutive 90-degree days, July 20th through the 31st, back in 1940. So, we're not going to have anything like that this year, but it's entirely possible. In fact, it's our official forecast at this point that we're going to have at least 5 consecutive 90-degree days, something we have not had around here since 1995 when we actually had 6. So, we will see if that comes to fruition, but that's our forecast right now. I have 90 starting on Friday, taking us through Tuesday, and I'm not going to be surprised if next Wednesday is also in the 90s. Thanks for checking out the Tuesday evening weather for Weather Geeks. Enjoy the rest of your night, and I'll see you back here in July.